34 Tips to manage your time effectively. Effective time management is important for anyone, but it's absolutely crucial for entrepreneurs. Because entrepreneurs are ultimately responsible for every aspect of their business, allocating the right amount of time to the right tasks is critical to keeping your business running smoothly. Better time management isn't just about working harder, it's about working smarter. We asked 34 productivity experts to share their best time management tip. Use this list of techniques to experiment and find the strategies that make the most sense for you. 1. Take advantage of just-in-time learning. Just-in-time learning changed everything for me. That is, I only consume content related directly to the next task I have in the current project I'm working on. Blog posts, podcast episodes, videos, they must help me with completing that next task on my priority list, or else it doesn't deserve my attention at this moment. Just-in-time learning changed everything for me. FOMO, fear of missing out, does make this hard though, because there's so much great stuff out there we don't want to miss. However, if you're smart about it, and as you come across interesting and potentially helpful content, you put it aside into a tool such as Evernote for easy access later, it can truly change how much you get done versus how much you learn. 2. Prioritize and delegate. Know your personal and professional priorities and plan your priorities in your calendar. Everything else needs to fit around them or be dropped. Get a great assistant you can delegate scheduling and other routine activities to. This person can be one of your biggest productivity boosters and stress reducers. 3. Just start. Most entrepreneurs never really start. And most business ideas end before they ever truly begin. Stop waiting for the perfect time, there isn't one. Stop waiting for the perfect product, launch with a minimal one. Stop waiting for someday, it will never come. You can't finish if you never start. 4. Reframe your thinking. Reframe your thinking. Time management is an outdated idea, and attention management is the new path to productivity. How you manage your time is only relevant to the extent that you also control your attention on the task at hand. This is because, if you allocate time to a task but spend that time switching among several different tasks, the end result will likely be different than what you intended. Controlling your attention means effectively managing internal and external distractions and single tasking for higher quality work done faster. 5. Use a note card system. To better spend your time, start by understanding where your time is spent. There are great tools out there to track time, but in all honesty, I prefer to keep it lightweight. Mark Andreessen's note card system has always worked for me. On a simple 3x5 note card, keep track of your main to-dos from the day. On the back of the card, you're supposed to write things you got done that you didn't initially plan to get done the night before. The workday always likes to sneak in plenty of extras. By looking at your 3x5 card at the end of the day, you'll see what you prioritized and if you got it done and what work was added to your plate. Extra work is fine, but if you're not clearing off your main tasks day after day, something is wrong. 6. Create a priority management system. Focus. Far too many people are trying to tackle too many things at once, and as a result, they make very little progress and end up burning themselves out in the process. Consider what your top impact activities are and build your day around them. Don't let other distractions and enticing opportunities dictate your day. You also likely need a solid priority management system to help manage your priorities. We like to call this your master plan. This is where you list your immediate priorities and all the associated tasks. 7. Hire a virtual assistant. Hire a virtual assistant and outsource everything you shouldn't be doing yourself. 8. Pace yourself. As an entrepreneur, you're in overperformance mode a lot of time because you're all in. Pace yourself. There will be time. You'll need the time, energy, and attention though, and when you go full throttle right out of the gate, you'll exhaust yourself. Do you know what good enough is for each of the projects on your list? This is good enough for the organization and good enough for you. Overthinking, over-editing and over-tweaking wastes valuable time and is not necessary. Do good work and then stop. 9. Reduce your cognitive load. Manage your cognitive load so that you don't have to keep remembering things. To do that, I use SaneBucks to reduce my email load, then I document everything I sense is important in Evernote. Manage your cognitive load. I run 35 separate Evernote docs with notes on chats with people I regularly work with on anything important, questions, results and action items. All tasks then feeds in a centralized to-do list I can prioritize and assign to my calendar, currently sunrise. 10. Take time to pause and think. The most important thing a busy entrepreneur can do is to stop everything and think. Take at least 5 minutes in the morning to think about your day. What's most important for you to accomplish today? Does your calendar reflect that priority? Set your phone to beep every hour, and, when it does, ask yourself, am I doing what I most need to be doing? Am I being who I most want to be? And at the end of the day, pause for 5 minutes and ask yourself, what did I learn? Anyone I need to thank or acknowledge? Anything I want to do differently tomorrow? So often, we think of time management as increasing our efficiency. But some of the most efficient people I know are ineffective. The key is to be effective, to work on what's most important, and to leave everything else out. 11. Build unstructured time into your schedule. Build 2 to 4 hours of unstructured time into your weekly schedule. This is time set aside with no agenda beyond learning, exploring, and thinking. For many busy entrepreneurs, this might seem counterintuitive or just plain unrealistic. However, research backs up the importance of having slack time in your schedule on 2 fronts. 1. When you're constantly busy and have no free time, as in every minute of every day is scheduled back to back, you max out your brain's bandwidth, your cognitive abilities decline, you become more prone to making errors, and you're less insightful. 2. Early on at Amazon, Jeff Bezos left his Mondays and Thursdays completely unstructured so that he always had time to devote to thinking deeply about the vision of the company. Making some unstructured time sacred is a hallmark of successful CEOs because without it, they will always be reacting to the problems others are putting in front of them and never proactively thinking about the future of the company. 12. Divorce your computer. Divorce your computer. 20 years ago, computers were productivity tools. Now, they're distraction tools that kill focus, kill creativity, and kill our ability to do good conceptual thinking by providing a never-ending stream of irrelevant interruptions. Divorce your computer. Physically arrange your workspace around a blank desk, not around your screen. Treat the computer as a tool that you use consciously, take out, and put back. Don't use it as a default location to distract your mind and attention. Put your laptop away during meetings. Take notes by hand. You'll connect better with people at the meeting, and you'll have far better recall for what happened. Use a paper to-do list for each day's top 3 priorities. Keep it in front of you at all times. Endless electronic to-do lists allow items to get trapped below the fold and fall off your radar screen. Don't triage your own email. Have your assistant do that and bring only the most important items to your attention. Respond to email with a single sentence. If more is required, dictate the bullet points to your assistant and have them compose reply emails on your behalf. You just review and send. 13. Do the most important things in the morning. Take your time to do right things. Everybody wastes time, so focus on being effective, doing right things, instead of being efficient, doing things well. Working in constant pressure is not okay. Feeling anxious and overwhelmed is not okay. Do you regret making decision? Stop. You shouldn't judge your success based on outcomes by themselves. The most positive results can be from things that you don't have to do. Do the most important things in the morning. Studies shown that, after using your willpower later in a day, people starting to make bad decisions. 14. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. Finding a stable time management technique that works for you is key to being able to get things done. There are so many new tools that come out each month, week even, that promise to be the ultimate organizational product, but the time and energy we invest in setting up these new systems are actually taking us away from being productive. I've gone from paper to PDA, to paper to phone and back to paper again, because some new app or system caught my eye, rather than sticking with what was working for me. When I think of the lost hours moving my lists from paper to app, it makes me shudder. 15. Prioritize tasks using the ABT method. I prioritize my tasks using the ABT method. A. Tasks you must do, serious consequences if they don't get done. B. Tasks you should do, mild consequences if they don't get done. C. Tasks you could do, no consequences if they don't get done. D. Tasks you delegate. E. Tasks you never do. Here's the trick, you never do a B task before you have done all the A tasks, and you never do a C task before you have done all the B tasks. Then apply the 80-20th rule to identify each day which 20% of the tasks on your to-do list will give you 80% of the results. 16. Schedule everything. For me, if it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done. So scheduling every hour of my workday is critical to staying focused and productive. Even free time to pursue side interests is put on the calendar. If it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done. I accomplish goals by breaking them down into very small projects that I can achieve on a daily basis. Each step should take no longer than 1 hour per day to accomplish. If I find it's going to take longer than an hour to do that step, I haven't broken it down enough. Even if I finish that day's steps early, I keep myself from doing the next step. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but doing so keeps me from getting burned out, and I'm more motivated for the next day's hour of work. This strategy also keeps me from getting a step half done, which doesn't feel as good as getting everything done that was planned for that day. Managing my time means planning it in advance. The last 30 minutes of my day is always set aside to schedule the following work day. 17. Use your calendar religiously. Always wait at least an hour before checking email in the morning. When you begin your day in response mode, it's too easy to go down a rabbit hole of answering email, and before you know it, you've lost half the day and you haven't addressed anything proactively because you've spent your morning reacting. Use your calendar religiously. Never rely on your memory for your appointments with others or with yourself. Relieving your brain of having to remember your schedule leaves it free to be creative, solve problems, and be present in the moment with others. Always build buffer time around appointments in your calendar to account for travel time, preparation time, and follow-up time. 18. Don't hyperschedule yourself. Don't hyperschedule yourself. Use your calendar for big blocks of time chunks, such as daily themes or weekly project sprints during a consistent time period, i.e. writing your book from 5 a.m. 8 a.m. every weekday, instead of allocating every minute of the day with something specific. Your to-do list can offer up the details because that is what is designed to do. Let your calendar act as a broader trigger that leads you to look at the details on your to-do list. Then you can decide what you need and want to do on any given day with intention and attention in mind. 19. Do the simplest task first. My high school math teacher once told me that if you're stuck on a problem, start writing down numbers and you'll be amazed how often you figure out the solution as you write. I've found this true in all of life, not just math. Whenever I get stuck on something, don't know how to start a project, get anxious, or start procrastinating, I force myself to do the simplest and smallest part of the task. I lower my expectations from completing the whole project to doing the simplest, most achievable component. I'll write the first sentence, put in the first line of code, create the first line in the spreadsheet. And what invariably happens is that you finish that first thing, and it spills into the next, and then the next, and like a snowball, hours later you're charging miles downhill, and you don't even remember why it was hard to start out in the first place. 20. Look for ways to automate. People often choose working harder over taking the time to figure out how to work smarter. Entrepreneurs can actually create more free time by examining their processes more closely. First, decide if the work is necessary. If it is, and you have to do it more than 3 times, you'll need to develop a process that is well thought out, includes everyone who touches it, and is documented so anyone can follow it. Once you figure out the best way to proceed, choose the right technology to get it done. 21. Eliminate your least productive activities. Apply the 80-20 rule and eliminate your least productive activities. Doing this allows you to be productive without being busy. But first you need to have clarity regarding your priorities and the willingness to let go of some opportunities. Apply the 80-20 rule. 22. Start your day earlier than everyone else. Start your day earlier than everyone else. If you read the biographies and autobiographies of successful men and women, almost all of them have one thing in common, and that is the habit of going to bed at a reasonable hour and rising early. By waking before the rest of the world, you have time to plan your day in advance and get a head start on some tasks that may be looming over your head before others are awake to interrupt you. 23. Perform a time audit. Be aware of how your time is really being used and choose tasks that provide the highest value with the lowest use of resources as high priority once urgent matters have been dealt with. It may sound boring and tedious, but a time audit can reveal surprising information about time use and lead to positive change. There are some easy ways to accomplish a time audit, like using color codes for different activities to color in a Chronodex. 24. Use the Pomodoro technique. My top management tip for busy entrepreneurs is the Pomodoro technique and unscheduled calendar. This basically means I just put a timer for 25 minutes and start doing only one task. This time pressure and single focus helps me get back on track and get into my productivity rhythm. On bad days I spend most of my days like this. 25. Isolate your 3 most important tasks. At the start of the day, ask yourself, by the time the day is done, what 3 things will you want to have accomplished? It's a simple tactic, almost stupidly so, but hardly anything else will help you work more intentionally. The tactic does a few things at once. It helps you filter out what you shouldn't be spending time on every day from what's actually important. It gives you a guiding light for what's important for when shit inevitably hits the fan. And it helps you consider your limits every day. If you have a lot of meetings on a given day, as an example, you'll have less freedom to define what you need to get done. Plus, it only takes a minute. 26. Time management is all about mind management. At the end of each day, map out which tasks need to get done the next day and how long each one will take. Then schedule those tasks onto your calendar in between the appointments that are already on there. Time management is all about mind management. Once you realize that you're in control of your clock and can tell your time what to do, your work life and personal life will become less stressed. 27. Freely allocate the time you need to do a task. Freely allocate the time you need to realistically do a piece of work to the minimum next stage of completion. By realistic, I mean the actual amount of time it would take, not the amount of time you wish it would take. Once you have made that decision, then don't think about time at all and do the work. Thinking about time management is the biggest waste of time I indulge in, ironically. While I am worrying about how long something takes, I am not using 100% of my attention on doing useful work or solving problems. By minimum next stage of completion, I mean a useful element that contributes to your working goals in some salient way. I tend to fixate on the end result instead of the next stage because I am impatient, but this just creates frustration that again burns up energy that might otherwise be used to make something. Giving myself enough time to get something done and also giving myself the permission to not feel rushed or guilty about the time it takes is what works for me. 28. Have a productivity routine you follow religiously. Have a productivity routine that you religiously follow daily. For example, 1. Work out at 4:30 a.m. 2. Create list of top 5 to-dos for the day at 7 a.m. 3. Work uninterrupted for 50 minutes, then break for 10 minutes, several times per day. 4. Don't leave the email tab open. Just like you build a strategy for everything else in your business, you absolutely must have a strategy for productivity. I work out because it makes me feel good, wakes me up, and energizes me for the rest of the day. I create a list of my top 5 to-dos for the day because if it's a never-ending list, then it often leaves me unfulfilled and like I accomplished nothing. Even when I do. I make time for several hours of 50-minute working sessions with a 10-minute break because it's the only way I can accomplish those 5 to-dos. I don't leave the email tab open because my day goes down the drain in 0 seconds flat. Make a routine, stick to it, and you'll find time you didn't know you had. 29. Find out, decide, or do. When you find yourself avoiding a task, it's usually because you're unclear about what needs to happen next. It's usually one of 3 things: find out, decide, or do. Do you need more information, make a choice, or take an action? Look at your resistance through the find out, decide, or do lens, and it'll move you forward. 30. Stop thinking about it as time management. Stop thinking about it as time management. When we say time management, we're really saying it's the time that needs to be managed. But in 99% of the cases, a totally unscientific percentage, but it's relatively accurate in my experience, it's not time that needs better managing, it's us. So instead, try thinking about it in terms of choices. An example, imagine your absolute favorite band comes to town. Or Hamilton. Whatever. Something you really want to go to, but impossible to get into. But lo and behold, 2 tickets fall into your lap. No matter how busy you are, or think you are, if you're like me and most people, you're gonna find a way to go, right? So start looking at everything on your task list as a series of choices. You can choose to do them, or you can choose not to do them, to defer, delegate, or delete them. The weird thing starts happening when you look at it as a choice. You wind up making better choices simply by realizing the power was in you all along. 31. Do the hardest thing first. Do the hardest thing first, every single morning. When you start your workday, tackle the task you find the most difficult to do or are most likely to procrastinate on. When we postpone those kind of tasks till later in the day, we often get stressed about them and keep postponing them. By flipping it, you can go on with the rest of the day knowing you were productive. Even if you did nothing else, you still had a productive day. I've done this for the last 5 years of running my business, and it helped us tremendously. Everyone in our company does it too, and it's part of our onboarding training to teach people this concept. 32. Use Eisenhower's urgency importance matrix. Prioritize. Emails keep piling up, phone calls keep coming in, there are tons of to-dos, an entrepreneur's workload is enormous. Prioritizing that work is key to staying focused. The more you're able to prioritize, the more efficient you'll be. This is where Eisenhower's urgency importance matrix comes in, forcing you to think twice before adding a task to your to-do list. Prioritize. Here's the how. Select those tasks that are most urgent. Ask yourself, are these equally as important? Postpone what is less urgent, delegate what is less important. And if it's none of the above, get rid of that to-do. 33. Follow a system. 1. Declutter your brain. You feel stressed because you have too many unfinished tasks. On a plain piece of paper, write them all down. Then cross out any that are not absolutely essential. Be brutal. 2. Conquer the unfinished task. Looking at your list, commit to completing one task a day until the list is complete. Revisit this list often. 3. Declutter your world. A desk or kitchen counter covered with papers and other clutter also makes you feel more stressed than you need to be. Stop, take a deep breath, and take a few hours to either toss it, file it, or take care of it. 4. Limit or block distractions. Shut off any email, Facebook, or Twitter alerts each morning until your most important tasks are complete. Process all of those communications in scheduled blocks. 5. Act with purpose. When was the last time you actually wrote down your purpose in life or your top priorities? What is the one thing most important to you in life? What are the priorities that further that purpose? Write them down. 6. Set goals. Yeah, you say you know what your goals are. But have you written them down? Neuroscience has proven that the simple act of writing actually tricks your brain into achieving more. 7. Make your 5 before 11. Make a list of 5 things you can commit to doing before 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Does each task move the needle forward on your purpose, priorities, and goals? It should. When you do your 5 before 11 tomorrow, you will have a blissfully peaceful sense of accomplishment, knowing you have done what is meaningful to you. 34. Make better initial decisions. This is somewhat counterintuitive. The best way to gain time is to make better initial decisions. We spend so much of our time and energy correcting mistakes and scrambling out of bad situations. If you can reduce folly on your initial decisions, you'd have a lot more free time. One way to improve the quality of your decisions is to clear your mornings and think for 30 minutes alone about the problem before making a decision. Try not to make big decisions in the afternoon or later in the day. Have a great time management tip, technique, or strategy of your own? Share it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please help us create more content by supporting our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/discofith. You will instantly gain access to over 400 videos about billionaire biographies and over 140 personal development videos and over 180 Christian videos and over 450 verse and quotes images among other goodies. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, like this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel, and hit the notification bell to never miss another video. You can also check out our second channel, Discofith. Link is in the description. Thank you and God bless you.